Okay, here we go. My ultimate goal is to have what I call hypermedia centers, where people go to uh, debate like gladiators in a pit, like the Coliseum or something like that, or whatever, and have spectators, and also the spectators participate in all that in a virtual environment and all that. Because of the information age and blah blah blah, the internet and all kind of stuff, every source of information they refer to will be right in front of them. Uh, you see two senators go at it in a debate or something like that, and they all have 90 seconds to respond to the previous candidates in 90 seconds. Oh, that's not true. You didn't vote for that because you voted for higher taxes because you did this and you did that. Well, they're referring to documents that, as far as I've known, that aren't in layman's terms in legislation, drafted legislation, that kind of stuff, and or documents that are like tens of thousands of pages long. There's no way anyone can follow through with any of that stuff. So, in a virtual world with hypermedia and massive cross-referencing over the internet and everything like that, just click this link here and this link here to go immediately to it, and the idea that people can critique it. I see things like color coordinating text and uh, mass categorization, just people digesting information and reducing it to large chunks and trying to sum up, well, this is what this document says, and people can fight on that underneath that and say, well, it doesn't really say this or whatever. Right? That's the whole point, though. You add to it. Sooner or later, you're going to go with someone else's assertion uh, on some topic or another. That's the point, and you're going to, after being exposed to both sides, or if there's more than two sides, that kind of stuff. So anyway, the idea is to try to make the world less complex as it gets more complex, and with mass information handling, that kind of stuff. So activism and changing things and making a difference will happen easier. I got my website, Ultrafaction. Basically, I explained some of the premise behind the software and how some of the software would look. To the right are the formats, which is basically profiles, user profiles. And to the left are the links explaining more details, some of the theory behind the software, that kind of stuff. So I'll probably have a link to it underneath this video. For example, if you have one sentence on a page, the senator disagreed with lowering taxes in this last session. You have the word taxes. Okay, cool. Then you have someone's definition of it, and this can vary. You can have, 20,000 or 20 million definitions of just simply the word taxes. In this particular case, it'll be someone's, like the format, Delta 3. Ambiguous need that can destroy or uphold a nation. So you're kind of giving, throwing some shade here. There's a need for it, but no one agrees where the line should be drawn, or a few people do, and that kind of stuff. And on the opposite extreme, you're trying to cite that it can be the end of a nation or stop a nation from ending, destroy or uphold a nation. Now, for an ambiguous need, you go down here, you have socialism versus capitalism. Further down, you have some of the negative things associated with each in this particular example. There could be another line saying the positive things associated with each, and they cross-reference each other, and debate ensues from that on, so on and so on. Now the question marks here is for the ambiguous context. Something that could be later worked on or fought about or debated about in just in that square. That was the context for the larger square of socialism versus capitalism. And then for destroy or uphold, I have people not always self-sufficient, so some people need to be helped. Government is inherently imperfect. Okay, that's a no-brainer, but still, I might say would to the degree. They say if government is involved in everything, that those tiny imperfections will magnify, that kind of stuff. It's usually the premise behind it with like the right wing. And a left-wing response to that would be, sure, government is inherently imperfect, but we want to starve the poor. You're supposed to help people. Besides, what you conservatives want to do is basically nothing at all. So that's usually the circles they go in, and so on and so on. Wealth redistribution is a double-edged sword. So then you have the people not always self-sufficient. I have this X and the blue O, and I have the green lines, which is an ambiguous sign for something to go between, like the debate, to compare and contrast each other with. So the software looks something like that, you know. Another example of the software would be visually. Instead of a flat screen and a 2D surface, you can have the notions and the concepts given 3D representation, and you can have them categorized on a grid, how they cross-reference with each other, how they compare and contrast to each other, the context from that, and it would be just this virtual environment where you're grabbing icons in the air, manipulating them, that kind of stuff. This form of to lay out thought visually in the form of debate or lobbying or research, that kind of stuff. Now, I need a budget of a few $100 million to pull this off, and it'll be so crazy. I don't see it happening. So I kind of thought instead of getting one of the software companies started or something like that, um, a movie or a web series. And like they had Video Game High School, that was a series on YouTube, and they have YouTube Red. The Angry Video Game Nerd, he had a huge following on YouTube, and he crowdfunded his movie, that kind of stuff. So I like to start with something small like that. I have a few mock-up episodes I'm going to do that I've written some slight scripts for and that kind of stuff to show how some of the interaction would be watching the two ideological gladiators go at it with each other and that kind of stuff. I'll do some still shots and some voice narration, that kind of stuff. Very, low budget, cheesy stuff, but to try to get that, I needed some money. Now, and from that, such as on YouTube right here, one of the aspects of social media, I'll have, Twitter or Snapchat, that kind of stuff. I was told in one of the videos, whatever, that infographics are the ones that get shared the most. To me, I thought it was e-cards and Grumpy Cat memes, whatever, but like political stuff, So, I plan to do that, and they have an app called Canva that I think is something they use for infographics, that kind of stuff. So, and of course, on YouTube, and my design infographics is shared on Snapchat and that kind of stuff. Vlogs, tutorials, and demos. Now, I'll have vlogs that I'll display my version of politics to show the complexity behind some of the software. I'm a conservative. I'm kind of like a mutant conservative because I have a lot of alienation to me, and I have a lot of anger at conservatives. And I usually hold the institutions in contempt that conservatives usually like your average set of parents, your average church. I'm pissed at them all. Gangster rap's my favorite form of music and that kind of stuff, but I still take heed for the federal government being involved in pretty much anything, and I can't stand our over-sexualized pop culture that we have, and I'm for extreme fiscal conservatism, and we gotta knock out our debt and get rid of that stuff. This is just ridiculous, So, with all that being said, I want to start visually laying out points and maps and grids and stuff to get a point across about what I'm trying to say about a new version of politics and that kind of stuff. A new version of cyber activism and stuff, political activism, and also the jagged kind of pre-web series material that I'll have, and it'll be just stills and some voice acting going on, voice narration, that kind of stuff. So stay tuned. We'll see how the channel develops and if I get anybody's attention, that kind of stuff.